you want more tremendous stuff, again, we're hanging out at the top of the card. We'll get to the rest later. But Adam Page being the wild card, showing up and defeating Jeff Jarrett in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Look, I straight up, and I don't think I do. I don't think I do like meme titles, or I try to do over the top statements all that much. But this match, the way everything was executed, from the build to the final bell of this match, was pro wrestling perfection. And I dare anyone to prove to prove me otherwise. This was pro wrestling perfection. Adam Page was the suspected wild card, and that's fine. And he comes to the ring, and he's the heel. He's the heel, and he just wants to beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett here. That's all he wants to do. Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett in this match, who had baby-faced himself like to astronomical levels because of his tremendous promo about Owen Hart, worked from beneath the entire way. So you have the dastardly, evil, thug heel just going after Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett is trying his best here, going for his hope spots. They're always crushed. You couldn't get a more old school match structure than this right here. And then he finally mounts his big comeback, locks in the sharpshooter. People go bananas. They want Jeff to win because Jarrett did such a fantastic job getting himself over. And commentary was pushing it as well. But Page, Hangman Adam Page, once the protagonist of AEW, now the antagonist, beats Jeff Jarrett with a buckshot lariat, with some punches to the face, and with a deadeye, all in sequence. Clean as a sheet. No shenanigans. Just a good old beatdown by the bad guy who establishes himself that I am the bad guy. I know a lot of people wanted Jeff Jarrett to win, that they were upset that Jarrett didn't win. Good, you got worked. Fantastic. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean that in the best possible sense. It's pro wrestling. You're supposed to feel shit. And if your favorite didn't win because the heel went over, which was the right move, by the way, to give instant heat to Page. This is what happens. Page, instant heat, instant top heel heat. Did you really think that Jeff Jarrett was going to advance and win the Owen and then challenge at Wembley Stadium? No, of course not. When you take it reasonably, but so many people wanted him to win because Jeff Jarrett is a tremendous worker, because he tapped into the reality, into that personal issue that he had, that the relationship that he had with Owen Hart. He tapped into that to make people feel something. It's exploitative, Warren. It's pro wrestling. They messed with our emotions. Yes! Yes! Exactly. Like any good TV show will. And the bad guy here just happened to have to get his win. The crowd was so into this. They bought every minute of this. And they were even chanting Whose House at Page. They know the score. They know what's up. They've been following this story. This story in this company that doesn't tell stories A story that hasn't been told for months now because Adam Page was off, having babies. He comes back and they still remember because it's a good story. They were chanting swerves. They were chanting whose house the entire way. Well, not the entire way, but just enough to prod them. And Page took a minute to soak it in, to give them the look. I mean, there's your money match. There is your all-in at Wembley Stadium main event. And you would be hard-pressed to find anything that will have more built-in heat than that match. And that's exactly where we're going. That's exactly where we're going. Adam Page got a big reaction, like when his name appeared on the Tonytron, people went nuts. They instantly started chanting cowboy shit. People loved the Hangman. They were ready for him to come back. Apparently, some people thought that the audience was dead. I don't know. We probably weren't listening to the same feed. Maybe the TSN2 feed was better connected on and I'm saying this facetiously because it's the same feed that gets tossed to TBS and TSN up here in Canada. So we're nothing special. In many ways, in multiple ways. People were excited for his return. I saw some commentary. Oh, they shouldn't have teased it. They should have left it a surprise. And I disagree. I think right now, and we've had the surprises talk in the past, in recent shows where I think, and especially when it came to to Mercedes Moné's debut, I think you don't do the surprise thing. Not when your attendance is struggling, not when your ratings are dipping, and you'd probably announce things in advance. If one of your top guys is coming back, announce it. So they didn't officially say Adam Page is returning, but holy shit, did they ever? Once the Bucks leaned into it and said, "Oh, we have a guy," and then that video promo, that video package that they cut of Adam Page that was aired on Collision. Once that all started to air, I was like, it became pretty obvious that Page was going to be the guy. So, I don't think saving a surprise is always a good thing. Especially when your consumer facing metrics could benefit from announcing cool things happening in your company that maybe will have people tune in a little more on a Wednesday night. Maybe we'll get a couple of hundred more people to buy tickets or whatever. I think you can't do the first dance every time, is what I'm saying. So I'm glad they sort of wink, nudged, but like massive nudge into like right in your nose, like nudge. And what are you doing? I'm glad they did that instead of, being very cagey or super secretive about it. I'm glad that they at least lean into the fact that Page was coming back and you could just do 2 + 2 and see where this was going. So like, to me at this point, now what this does for the tournament is it makes the finish a little more predictable, but I'll be damned if I'm not excited for a Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page main event at the Calgary Saddle Dome next week. It's next week, right? Jesus Christ, it's going to be awesome. What are we doing? That's going to be great. But yeah, your match, and then on top of that, then we're going to have the blood and guts thing. Well, I think you can't have a team AEW if your world champion's not in, right? And I think next week Swerve Strickland's going to show up, and that's what he's gonna talk about. And And then I think Page is going to add himself probably now that he, not out of love for the Bucks, because we saw a little later on Adam Page and the Young Bucks, and the Bucks were really happy to have him back, and he basically denied them and said, no, I don't want anything to do with you guys. I'm not your puppet anymore, kind of thing. But I think once Swerve adds himself to Blood and Guts, I think he's gonna add himself in, where he's gonna be, oh yeah, you're doing this. So we're gonna have that tease there where they can have another great angle there, another great setup to add some heat to the match for Wembley. Like to me, the path is making sense. It's appearing before me, and it makes a ton of sense, and I think it's gonna be exciting. And I think there are, as it stands right now, we've already got some top programs bubbling that are going to be confirmed over the next couple of weeks, and I think this Wembley show is going to rock. I think it has all the potential to be better than last year. In fact, it should be better than last year. I want to, in regards to Hangman Page, like disassociating himself from the Bucks instead of being all pal, a certain high-profile wrestling commentator, pundit, analyst, who shall remain nameless for now, said on his show, his daily podcast, that he wondered if Adam Page is still a heel. Can he still be a heel if he's not aligning himself with the Bucks? If he's pushing the Bucks away, isn't that a babyface move? And there's someone who in the Voices of Wrestling Discord, can't recall the name exactly now, I apologize, but made an excellent point, made this great comparison where it's like, I wonder what Brian Alvarez thinks about Starscream in Transformers. Wait, did I say the name? I said Brian Alvarez. I was trying not to. Oh, well. I was trying to be cagey. Never mind that. But I wonder what, look, Alvarez has probably never watched Transformers. Otherwise, he'd probably be like, wait a second. Isn't Starscream fighting the Autobots? But he hates Megatron, who is the top heel, and he doesn't want to align with the top heel. Make Starscream an Autobot. Look, I just got carried away and I slipped. Didn't necessarily want to mention the gentleman by name, but he can take it. But honestly, that's weird. Like ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that it's strange to have that kind of thought where heels can't get along. Do we have to have? Are we pining for the days that the heels all banded together to take down the Hulkamaniacs at Survivor Series? Is this it? No, we can have heels. Don't have to get along. I don't know if you noticed a couple of weeks ago, but the Bucks and the patriarchy are have a self-serving relationship, but they clearly don't trust each other. They don't like each other. I don't know. Is it just me? Like the heels don't always have to get along, just like all the baby faces don't have to get along. That's human nature. Will and Swerve were both baby faces. I wonder if Brian had some issues there. What if Optimus Prime and Bumblebee started fighting? Anyway, okay, that's enough. But look, a tremendous match, and like I said, coming back to the match itself, pro wrestling perfection. And this is the shit that gets me. This is the shit that works. This is what gets me excited, as you can tell. This is the stuff that really gets the blood pumping, that makes me excited about pro wrestling, not people running around in masks in the dark, with giant hammers, not, whatever the hell else, incessant, angles about, about authority figures or, crime syndicates that aren't really crime syndicates or whatever. Like these are the things that make me love pro wrestling. This match here, the Ospreay Garcia match and the ensuing angle. Pro wrestling doesn't have to be this convoluted thing every time. It doesn't have to be War and Peace every time, quote unquote, a certain famous professional wrestler in the past. It doesn't have to. It can be ultimately simple when you have all the elements in place and the people with the talent to pull it off, put into these right places. We've said it multiple times. The AEW roster is quite possibly the greatest professional wrestling roster ever assembled in any period of human history. It quite possibly, right now, if you take a step back and an objective step back, and you look at top to bottom, who is signed to this company, and you go back to 2019 and you say, and you present that to someone in 2019, their head's gonna explode. And you look at it now and your head still explodes. But we're sort of lost in everything else, in all this discourse of, where I find that the discourse regarding AEW is a perpetual defense mode. Everyone is always shields up, or everyone always trying to talk back against complete bad faith points. Where we fail often when it comes to AEW is to really underscore the successes, the good things when they do knock it out of the park, like last night's Dynamite, like they're doing with the women's division, like the collected roster that they have. The talent that is on this roster, and aside from that, the talent that they have on this roster right now should put you in a position where any angle you want to try out, you've got someone there to do it. You've got someone to push, someone who can get themselves over, someone who will fill in a role that you need and will fill it perfectly. That's the kind of roster that AEW has right now. This is what gets me excited in pro wrestling. The top of last night's Dynamite is the stuff that just reminds me why I'm a fan and why I stick to this company that has tested my patience, that has, that oftentimes makes me grit my teeth. I'm like, what direction are we going? When I see shows like last night, I remember and I understand why I still make disappointment viewing, why I still do reviews every Thursday. This is why. Should we talk about the rest of the card? Should we? Yeah, we should. We absolutely should. So why don't we go back to the start then instead of going? We'll go right back to the start. We talked about the cold open. And the first match that we got was the Bryan Danielson defeating Pac match in the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. This was the semifinal match. So this was an incredible match. And it started off with holy shit chants. Like, people knew what we got here. And commentary pointed it out. The last time that these guys fought was 15 years ago. It wasn't WWE, but they didn't say WWE, but it was 15 years ago. So right now, Danielson, he's on this stretch of having rematches, decades plus rematches with people that he hasn't seen or fought in all that time. So Shingo at Forbidden Door, now Pac, and it's rematch central. Crowd is super into this. I mean, this Wintrust audience, this Chicago crowd, they were into it. They were really, really into this match. They were into the entire show. Quite honestly, it was a fantastic crowd, but they also got a fantastic show, so go figure. Pac clobbers Danielson and lands a springboard moonsault to the floor, which is fantastic. He gets his heat segment in. Danielson fights back. Elbow drops by Pac, including one from the barricade on the floor. And then Pac lands a tombstone. And then the neck happens. And then we even get an avalanche brain buster. So then the story becomes, as I told you all, Danielson's neck. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what Bryan Danielson's stories are moving forward. It is all about Danielson's neck. And it was here once again, it was compounded even more because after Danielson won the match, after they were doing trading submissions and Danielson just sneaked a win out of Pac with a crucifix, Doc Samson ran in to check on Danielson. What do you think, Adam Page? We're maybe jumping the gun here, but nonetheless, what do you think Adam Page is going to do in his match against Danielson in the finals of the tournament? What do you think he's going to do? Of course he's going to lean into this. This is the story. This is the tale. I don't know why anyone is surprised. I don't know why anyone doesn't think this is good. This is good. Danielson will only be able to he's coming in with all of his neck issues, and Page, who is essentially fresh because he hasn't been wrestling like in months, comes back. He's fresh. He's rested. He's going to have wrestled a couple of matches, a little sprinkling of matches. Jeff Jarrett, Jay White. Meanwhile, Danielson's been on the run of a lifetime, wrestling like some of the biggest wrestlers in the entire world, flying to Mexico, flying to Japan. I mean, these stories tell themselves. What do you want from me?